How are we doing, you beautiful people? Kanzi here, bringing you episode 25 of Rise of the Holy Nation. We have pushed into the United Cities territory and we are going to take any targets of opportunity that we can, and we have found Tengu's vault. This is a massive prison complex, so we're going to go in, slay all the guards and release all of the criminals and see what they will do to the world. Will they do much? Probably not, but if they do something cool, well then we are going to find out. And also I just like the idea of releasing all of the Emperor's most wanted criminals back into the desert so they can wreak absolute havoc against United Cities. That seems like a very good use of time, and it is on the way down to Eye Socket and then the slave farm. We will hit both of those because that will affect the stats of the people in the United Cities, so that means conquering them is going to be even easier. It's not going to be easy at all. The United Cities are some thick boys, incredibly well trained, incredibly well equipped, and there is a lot of them. So anything we can do to deplete their numbers or deplete their stats is going to be of the highest priority at the moment, because in a straight up fight they are going to spank us. We are very well equipped, we are very well trained, but there isn't many of us. There's only, I believe, 16 in the adventurer squad, and coming up against some of the towns which will have numbers and garrisons of around 200, if not more. It is a tall order to ask, even from the Juggernaut and the Orion Crocodilians, and then let alone from the Humies, who are decent at what they do, but they are a little bit squidgy. So the more damage we can do without having to go into a massive conflict to start with, I think it's just going to put us in a better situation. And also I like the idea of just watching the United Cities slowly starve and crumble as their slaves get freed. Right, now it is time to get on with the killing. So we have the lower gate secured, we have the ramp up to the outpost secured to Tango's vault, which is putting us in a pretty good situation. We're not worrying about anything coming up the ramp behind us, so all we need to do is focus down what's in front of us. Some of these guards are pretty tough, and there will be the Vault Master around, and he has a May 2 police baton. So that isn't going to be a great bit of kit, but it is May 2, so we are going to take it just for the sake of having more May 2 stuff. So pretty soon we are going to have nearly a full armory full of May 2 kit, which is going to be super good. Most of it's not going to be super useful because not all weapons are created equal in Kenshi, that is for sure. But going in, the extra longswords that we have are causing havoc, and then the extra katanas, and some of them don't have the armor penetration debuff, so they do full damage against people in armor, which makes them super good. We've got a couple stragglers coming up the ramp behind us, not a massive issue. We got Rhodes and Zip on this, and Zip has now got his first kill. That did not take long. We haven't had him for a very long time at all, probably only a couple in-game days at the most, but he is very well equipped and very well armoured, and it is starting to pay off. So that is his first kill. We'll write that in the diary for later on. Dear diary, Zip killed someone today, and that is a good start. I'm happy with that. If he can already start taking on a United Cities conscript, it's not going to be too long until we can start taking on samurai heavies. And the more people we can have that can actually fight, the better this is going to go for us. We melted through those guards super quickly, and that's the thing with this adventurer squad. Their burst damage is insane. They can go in and cause a crazy amount of damage in a very short amount of time. The problem is it starts falling off quite quickly, as we do not have the staying power within the squad because we just have such a small team. Very good for surgical strikes, very good at hitting targets of opportunity and getting in and getting out. But when it comes down to actually taking the town, we will struggle a lot. We saw that at Squin. We just don't have the numbers or the staying power to be able to stay in a fight for a long period of time. Peter, Gnu and Dexter, they can stay in for a long time and cause a lot of damage. But we are going to need to find new recruits to bring in. So thankfully we are in the prison, well, Tango's vault. So we should be able to hopefully pick a couple guys up, and with them, some of these have decent stats, and join them into our team. If that doesn't work, we are heading down to the slave farm and eye market, where we should being the key word, be able to recruit a few more, well, slaves, and then recruit them into our team. That will pad out our numbers a bit, and I think that we're probably going to need to looking for around 25 people in the adventure squad, and then plus the 3 animals, so Dexter, Midnight and Bog. We have gone around and released everyone from Tengu's vault that was a human. Anyone that wasn't, we just left there so they can starve to death, because it's kind of what they deserve. But with what we've got, none of them joined us, unfortunately. We got a couple guys that seem to be following us, and hopefully they will join. But as a straight up joining off the bat, we haven't had one of those yet, which is a little bit annoying because there were some guys in there that had decent stats. Not too many interesting backstories. There was a guy called Psycho, and you talk to him, and we're like, why are you in there? And he's like, I like disemboweling humans. And she's like, oh, cool, man. Do you want to join us? And he's like, no, psych, and then run away. It was a bit of a shame. Would have liked to have him on the team, but nothing too much we can do about that. So we have wiped out the tower, taken pretty much all of the guards, freed all the prisoners that we can, and then some of the prisoners seem to be freeing other ones. So as you can see, there are now Shek escaping as well. At the moment, we are not going to hunt them down because they're probably going to get killed by the skimmers, and if they don't get killed by the skimmers, in the fluff sense, they might cause some issues towards the United Cities, which is a small price to pay at the moment, I think. So we managed to take out one of the vaults. Does it affect the world state? I am not too sure, but hopefully there'll just be more criminals and stuff running around and causing anarchy all over the place, which to me seems like a small price to pay, because the Holy Nation is going to expand as United City starts getting taken out, and then they're going to go through and just purge all of the Narkos anyway. So letting a couple of them go to help us achieve our greater goal, I think, is a small payoff. Will it actually make a massive difference, or will it even affect anything? I don't know, but if we don't try, we don't find out. So let's have a little ganders and see what happens. But thinking right now, our best bet is probably to head up towards Stoke. When we're in Stoke, we can have a look around, see how big the garrison is, see if we can pick off any United Cities patrols, just cause a bunch of havoc, and if it seems like we can take the town, I reckon we will go for it. Okay, slight change of plan. We are going to head towards the south, towards I, so we can take out the market. Now it's going to be the first slave farm / slave compound we're going to hit, and then we are going to take out the slave farm after. This should give us a chance to recruit some more characters into our adventurer squad, which is something that we definitely need. Also means that we can pull back, we can hit the Black Desert City on the way back to the base, so we're going to be able to get a whole bunch of weapons and nice things like that. Plus take out the Skelly Boys, because obviously we don't like the skeletons, as we are the Holy Nation. And then by this time the United Cities attack should be coming towards us, and we'll be in a situation where we can have some sort of defense against it. We can defend against dust bandits, we can defend against starving bandits, and we can defend against triangle bandits, but anything more than that we run into some difficulties. Only minor skirmishes on the way down to the slave market, so nothing too much there. There was a couple guild of surgeons and some other bandits and whatnot, nothing too fancy. But now we are at the market. This should be a nice quick job. We're going to go in, ideally secure the walls first so they don't mess up our animals from the use of their crossbows and harpoons, because the bleed damage is super annoying against them. Then the rest of our guys are going to pile in. There is only one gate in this town, so all we need to do is just get through that, and then it will turn into an open slaughter. If it turns into an open field battle, we have the advantage. They do have a couple noble guards. I think there's about 8, maybe 6 or 8 of them, and they are very well equipped, very well armed, and very well trained. But that is not a massive issue. We will be able to take them down quite happily, and Dexter is doing what Dexter always does, and that is just run up onto the towers and chomp on all of the crossbow users. It's almost like he's got a sixth sense that is the most dangerous thing for him. Any town you go into, any attack that we do, that's literally the first place he goes, which I find quite funny. The other bone dogs don't do it as much, but for some reason the Orion Cockatoos do. We had the same thing with Nippy in the last series. He would always run straight up onto the walls and just chomp on all of the guards up there. But nothing too much around here so far. Everything is falling super quickly, which is real good. We have managed to get into the tavern. Yet again, they are not going to pose much of a threat. They are using heavy armor, but it's low quality heavy armor, so the only thing that is really doing for them is just messing up their stats, which is making this a lot easier. But I do see downstairs there is a Madacor trader, so that means that we are going to be able to get another one of those Meitu longswords. We won't be able to do it just yet. We need to clear everyone else out, because those guys are super tough and super difficult to take down. But once they are out of the fight, this is going to be a nice quick clean-up operation. Noble guards have started to pile in, but it's going to be too little too late. If they had joined in at the start when they had numbers on their side, we would have been in trouble because they would have been able to add their attack slot on to the others and we would have been outnumbered. But this time around there's multiple of us against one of them, and them wearing the heavy armour is messing up their stats, so our guys are getting plenty of damage in, which is quite nice. I don't think we are going to recruit anyone in the market because we still need to go back up to the slave farm, and if one of them gets tagged in the legs because of their low toughness and their lack of armour, that is going to cause us a problem because we are going to go super slow. But now it is time to go in and take out the medical trader. These guys, like I said earlier, are super tough. They have very good stats, not insanely good stats, but very good stats. But their armour that they wear offers about 90% protection. And yeah, he just got done by GNU. GNU has a katana and it is mental, actually just broken. She managed to take him down, whereas the last medical trader we fought when she didn't have that katana, it literally took about 10 minutes to take down. We're only doing like 3 or 4 damage a hit, and the regen on those guys was enough that they were healing through a lot of the damage. So you had to make sure you just hit one point continuously over and over again. But seeing as this place is full of narcos, we are going to go and just kill them all off, just for the simple fact. If we see Ray, who is a Praetorian and a mute, kicking around, we are going to let him go just for the sake of nostalgia. It's Ray. I'd feel bad about killing him. And there he is, hidden in the background over there. We'll let Ray be. He can't do anything. He can't talk, and he's a little bit slow of the mind, is how I describe it. So he'll probably just starve to death in the desert. So it's not exactly like we've freed him. He's just not going to do much. Last scout around the market, make sure we have taken everyone down and looted everything that we want. Not that there is a massive amount to loot here, but the slave traders have a whole bunch of cats on them, which is always nice. And we have just found another 5 people hiding out in this building. So we'll go in, we'll take them down nice and quick. We're going to have a double check for the Nobel. I'm pretty sure we've already taken them down. But if we haven't, obviously killing them off isn't going to be a bad thing. That is going to affect the United Cities. Not a crazy amount, but it will affect them a bit. And then we're going to carry on round and hit the other slave mines, which is going to keep adding points onto us against them. So when we go in for the final attack, we're going to have more guys and they're going to have less stats, which is going to put us in a pretty sweet situation. That katana is so broken. 325 damage in one hit. So that was the Noble one-shotted. GNU, you're a beast. So don't need to worry about here anymore. This is done. So that is one slave market slash farm slash mine out the way. And we only have about another 10 to go. And we have essentially kneecapped the United Cities. And it's going to be a nice quick mop up exercise from there. But we're all just going to regroup now. Make sure everyone's healed. Take off any of the stragglers because, you know, that's what they would have done to us. And then time to move on to our next target. We are going to have to skirt around the outside of Gut so we can get to the slave farm. If we go straight through Gut, we are just going to continuously be attacked by beak things, which will cause us a lot of damage in the journey over there because we have no chance of outrunning them. They run at about 33 miles per hour. At the moment, we're only running at about 16. So yeah, we'd have just taken so much harassment, it wouldn't have been worth it. We are now coming up on the slave farm. We're going to go and attack from the south, so we know no one's going to come up behind us. Worst case scenario, a couple beak things come in. And thankfully, they have left the gate undefended. So we're just going to run in and pull everyone apart as quickly as we can. They're coming in piecemeal, so almost every fight that we're going to get in, we're going to have multiple of us against them. And we are far better equipped, far better trained, and far better at killing things than these slavers. We are going to cause so much damage, it is going to be glorious. And we're going to keep an eye out for slaves at the moment. We do want to recruit quite a few of them because this is the last one we're going to go to before we head back to the base. Hopefully this will aggro the United Cities to attack back at us. We're obviously going to loot the slave traders because they have a whole bunch of cats, which is going to help us with the war effort. Not that we have a massive use for money, but you know, it's one of those. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Kenshi always has a way of messing up your plans. So the Western Hive are now coming in. We have to attack them because they are bugmen. So we're going to try and take them down. Now these guys aren't super crazy brokenly powerful, but they are very tough. They're quite well armed. They're quite well trained. They're not particularly well equipped. Their armor sucks quite a lot, so we don't need to worry about too much about that. So long as we can actually get a hit off, they are going to go down. They've nearly wiped our town out about twice now, but thankfully they just never aggroed up the hill to kill us. Otherwise this playthrough would have been considerably shorter. They have decided to put their crossbowmen on some high ground, which is quite smart, but we do have Dexter coming in, and Bog the Terror is coming in to cause a bunch of damage. No, he just looks like he wants to fight the Gari, which I don't think is going to turn out too well for him, but he does have Dexter in support, so he will be able to get that. He is doing super well for a little bone dog pup. He's a good addition to the team. He's doing quite well. Unfortunately, Zip, who is also one of our newer recruits, did go down to the Western Hive, but that is kind of to be expected. One of the mods we are running is the viable soldier drones. So the soldier drones get an extra 20 hit points to each body part other than their head, stomach and chest. So basically just to their limbs. This makes them a little bit better. They're not quite as good as Shek, but then they are better than the human, so it's a nice balance. But they're all cleared up, so we don't need to worry about too much about them, and still they are not hostile to us. I don't know why the Western Hive is so adamant that we're friends with them, and every time we attack them they're not bothered, because we have killed a lot of them now. Seeing as we have a nice choice of slaves to choose from, let's see if Luigi wants to join us. He's basically just going to be stock, so he will just work like that. We'll add him into the adventurer squad, we'll get him geared up, we'll get him armoured, we'll get him equipped, we'll get him full of medical supplies, food and all that fun stuff, so then he can start to get to the killing. Hopefully we'll be able to get some more slaves, and we'll try to recruit some more slaves. I'm thinking probably about 10. That should take us up to about 25, I believe, if my math hammer is right and my memory serves me, which normally it doesn't, so don't judge me. Bringing these slaves in is going to make us move a lot slower, like super slow, which is going to make moving around a little bit more difficult. And obviously the slower you move, the more fights you get in, and therefore the more of the kick in, and then the slower you go, so on and so forth. But once those 10 guys are trained up and they're able to fight, we will have some staying power so we can actually attack the towns. One issue that we are going to run into having an extra 10 guys that are low levels is when they get in fights, when the attacks go off against them, they are going to end up hitting our higher level characters. So that's why sometimes running smaller squads of very high level characters is better for you, because not as many attacks get through, and therefore if not as many attacks get through, not as many cleaves go around, and if there aren't as many cleaves, not as much damage, and then your stats don't drop. So I do like running small, high-skilled squads, but when it comes to attacking towns, sometimes it is just about numbers. So if we can get up to, say, 25 and 28 with the animals, we should be in a situation to be able to start attacking the United Cities true and proper. And by the time all of that's done, after we've attacked all of the slave farms, our guys will be on a level where they can actually attack into the towns and not be a nuisance. We'll let him get in, throw off a couple punches, because the guys that he's fighting are the Samurai Nobel Guard, who are crazy tough, crazy strong, and just hitting them is going to put his stats up like crazy. Is it going to do a massive amount? Probably not. You might get 10 points from this fight, which would be not a bad start as far as anything goes. We will give him the legs, because you can wear the legs of another faction's armour and then it doesn't count as wearing the faction's armour, which is a good thing for us. And also what we're worried about is obviously him getting hit in the legs and then moving slow, because one of two things: either we move slowly or one of our guys has to pick him up to carry him, which will then slow us down again. So just giving him the leg armour hopefully will keep him in the fight. Well, keep him moving, more appropriately. Looks like the Noble tried to lead from the front in a heroic gesture and paid the price, so he is now dead. A Maid 2 was a wacky, and then a bunch of perverted literature, which does not surprise me from a Noble from the United Cities. So we will take the Wizard Wacky for now. We'll give that to Luigi, so he actually has a weapon. And that is the slave farm pretty much wiped out. We'll go around, see if we can recruit some more slaves, because obviously the more we get, the better it's going to be. We have Albert here, so we're going to see if he'll join us. He says we should stick together, we say he should join, and nothing. This happened a little bit earlier on in the slave farm as well, as we were fighting, going around trying to talk to the slaves. So I think that this must be a bug. We got one guy out of this, so not great, and kind of a little bit annoying that we can't get more recruits. But silver lining does mean we are going to be able to keep moving quick. We do have Luigi, so it's not the end of the world. Thinking about it, trying to take 10 fresh recruits across an acid-soaked desert to fight a bunch of super tough skeletons where they'll probably die or melt. Not the best life expectancy right there. So this might be a better plan that we have, and then what we'll do is we'll just go to the Adventurers Guild instead, hire a recruits caravan to the base where we can just straight away equip them with all the kit that they need and then start moving out, and then we can have the 10 of them being trained up and equipped at the same time. We got Luigi's baptism by fire here. Is he going to win? Probably not, but we might as well let him have a little fight, try to get some stats up. We need to keep an eye on the damage to his legs. If he starts taking damage to his legs, then I'll get GNU or Peter to run up, stab the guy on the head, and then it will be time for us to move on. Got a little bit too close, so we pulled GNU out to get involved. Seeing as we are going to be recruiting 10 new characters, if you would like to name a character, please just comment down in the comment section below. Say what type of character you want, what you'd like them to do, a little bit of a backstory, and then we will bring them in at the next chance that we get. And with that, I need to bring the episode to an end, so thank you very much for watching episode 25 of Rise of the Holy Nation. I've been Konzi. All your likes, comments, sub support have been amazing. You guys are awesome, and I'll catch you on the next one.